Good evening. We'll go ahead and call to order the Village Board regular meeting, voting meeting for April 15th. And if we could have roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Emery.
Here.
Trustee Fleming.
Here.
Trustee Klebanow.
Here.
Trustee Nero.
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Here.
Manager Searle.
Here.
Finance Director Parker.
Here.
Attorney Zemanak.
Here.
Police Chief Mulhern.
Here.
Fire Chief Wise.
Here.
Public Works Director May.
Here.
Acting Community Development Director Malik.
Here.
Human Resource Director Casey.
Here.
Police and Fire Commissioner Kavanda.
Here.
Police and Fire Commissioner Forensic.
Here.
Westmont Library Director Kuhn. And Police Administrative Assistant Rice.
Thank you. If you'll stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would just request that at the conclusion of our pledge, we take a moment of silence to offer our hearts and our prayers to Boston. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. After the horrific events in Boston, it just reaffirms once again that we're a country that just can never let our guard down for a moment, but we sure can't stop living because then they'll win. So we will continue on with our lives as we normally would. And then just to segue a little bit, I just wondered if the board had any comments today about.
What can you say? It's almost
Nothing you can say. Okay, under reports. Now we get to all the fun stuff. First, we'll have the swearing in of Officer Peter Kono, our newest police officer. So I'll ask him to come up. I state your name.
I, Peter Kono,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the laws of DuPage County,
the laws of DuPage County,
the Westmont Village Code of Ordinances,
the Westmont Village Code of Ordinances,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties for the office of police officer
the duty of the office of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations as well.
Congratulations. Good job done.
Join me here. This is always the fun part of the job. On Tuesday, January 1st, 2013, Peter Kono began his career with the Westmont Police Department. Peter successfully completed an extensive testing and background process performed by our Westmont Fire and Police Commissioners. On behalf of the village, I'd like to thank the Commission Chairman Robert Kavanda and Commissioners Joseph Forensic and Vincent Musial for their time and efforts during this hiring process. I must say a little bit about them. They put in a lot of hours at the testing process, the physical exam, the written exam, the oral interviews, and then reviewing the background reports by our detectives. They spend a lot of time with each candidate. I couldn't even begin to estimate how time, and I would sincerely like to thank them from my bottom of my heart for all their time that they put in to keep us safe by giving us candidates such as Peter. On Monday, January 7th, Peter began his 12-week basic training program at the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy. And I'll let Peter explain later what his favorite classes were of the 12 weeks. As we talked about, I don't think it was the Red Man Physical Defense or the OC classes, but we never know. During this 12-week training, Officer Kono distinguished himself in several areas. Officer Kono was selected by his peers to be class president of Class BA 13-03. In addition to this honor, he was the recipient of the DuPage Chiefs of Police Association's Firearms Proficiency Award, and he was chosen to receive the Academy's Physical Training Leadership Award for his efforts. Before I turn the podium over to Peter, I'd like to tell him a little bit about ourselves. I'd also like to recognize members of Peter's family who are here with us tonight. I would like to recognize them for all they have done to support Peter in his endeavors to become a police officer. For all of us in law enforcement, our families have a very large influence in our future, and I would like to commend Peter and his parents and his girlfriend for raising and supporting Peter and helping him to achieve his goal to be a police officer. So here with us tonight are Rod and Kathy Kono, who are right here. And Peter's girlfriend, Shay Cook, who also. At this time, and I will tell you, as part of the class president has to give a speech at the graduation ceremony. And several of us, Mayor Pro Tem Seneca and Manager Searle and I were there. And Peter continues to impress me on a daily basis. So his speech was outstanding. And so I said, this is nothing compared to what he had to put up with in front of a crowd of well over 200 people. So, Peter, if you could take a moment to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Obviously, I'm not the only one here who's getting awards tonight and whatnot. Yeah, I grew up in Tinley Park. Just a quick background of myself. Grew up in Tinley Park. Went to high school at Marist and ventured out to Utah State University for college for 4 years. Graduated exercise science and started my efforts in pursuing a career in law enforcement. 2 years down the road and about 15 tests, I found myself here at Westmont and very excited to start my career here. And hopefully, it sounds like everyone else is pretty excited to have me here as well. Yeah. The efforts I put forth in the academy, I'm definitely looking forward to put that same effort in here at the department. A little bit different mentality. Now I'm actually out on the street and doing the work that I'm looking forward and enjoying to do forever. So much like the classes that Chief was talking about at the department, or at the academy, sorry, firearms was probably one of my favorite. I excelled in that very well and had a really good time with it. The OC spray was probably on the bottom end of the enjoyment, much like the TASER certification that I'll be getting shortly here.
We'll talk about that.
But other than that, I'm really excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Welcome.
Next, if I could have Sergeant Jim Schlicker and Detective Jeff Bogart join me up here at the podium for 2 prestigious awards. I would like to make one announcement. Before I make these 2 prestigious awards this evening, I'd like to remind everyone here in the room and also watching on television that a criminal complaint contains charges and are not proof of a defendant's guilt. In this case, there was an arrest made. A person is presumed innocent and is entitled to a fair trial, and which is the state's burden to prove a person's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. In this case, the charges have not been adjudicated in a court of law. They are still going on. I just wanted to remind everybody about that before we go any further. It's alleged that in the early afternoon of June 1st, 2012, Ms. Heidi Till, who resides in the 300 block of South Lincoln Avenue, dialed 911 and spoke to a dispatcher in the Village Operations Center. She informed the dispatcher that she had a gun and was threatening to kill herself. Officers of the Westmont Police Department, including Sergeant James Schlicker and Detective Jeffrey Bogart, responded to the residence where they allegedly found Ms. Till on the back porch of her home with a loaded handgun. Sergeant Schlicker directed his fellow officers to create a perimeter around the residence. Ms. Till allegedly discharged her weapon 3 times during this incident. Sergeant Schlicker, at one point, entered the backyard of her residence. He entered the yard to further enable himself to talk to Ms. Till and attempt to de-escalate and peacefully resolve the situation. Ms. Till fired a shot while pointing her handgun in Sergeant Schlicker's direction. At that time, Sergeant Schlicker and Detective Bogart returned fire, striking Ms. Till. Sergeant Schlicker and Detective Bogart displayed tremendous courage and restraint, as did several of their fellow officers during this dangerous and stressful situation. Officers then disarmed Ms. Till and then provided first aid until the paramedics arrived. Ms. Till was later transported to a local hospital to receive treatment for her injuries. No one other than Ms. Till was injured during this harrowing incident. Ms. Till was later arrested and charged with attempted murder. The Westmont Police Department's Award Committee reviewed the actions of our officers involved in this incident. It is their recommendation that both Sergeant James Schlicker and Detective Jeffrey Bogart receive the department's Combat Cross Award. The Combat Cross is awarded when an officer encounters hostile gunfire. Sergeant Schlicker was also recommended to receive the Department Star of Valor Award, which is awarded to an officer for bravery above and beyond the call of duty. In the history of the Westmont Police Department's award program, only 5 officers have ever received or been awarded the Star of Valor, and only 3 officers have received the department's Combat Cross. Tonight, Sergeant Jim Schlicker and Detective Jeffrey Bogart are joining a select group of unique and special officers. It's my pleasure to approve the awards of the committee's recommendation and to present the Westmont Police Department Star of Valor Award to Sergeant Jim Schlicker for his bravery above and beyond the call of duty. I'm also honored to present the department's Combat Cross Award to Sergeant James Schlicker and Detective Jeffrey Bogart for encountering hostile gunfire during this incident. So first, I'd like to present a certificate. And says the certificate award certifies that Sergeant James Schlicker is awarded the Star of Valor for bravery above and beyond the call of duty. And I'll go with Jim first again. As the Combat Cross is awarded to Sergeant James Schlicker for encountering hostile gunfire during the course of duty. Jim, congratulations. And then to Combat Cross is awarded to Detective Jeffrey Bogart for encountering hostile gunfire during the course of duty. As I said, these officers, these awards are among the premier awards in our department. They do not come across incidents like this very often, and thankfully so. And I'm very proud to be able to stand here as their chief of police for all the officers, not only the entire department, but all the officers who were out there on that date, and especially these 2 officers. They, again, showed tremendous restraint and are to be commended for their actions. And with that, I'd like to see Sergeant Schlicker has been selected to be the spokesperson for him and Jeff.
Again, I'd just like to, again, a great thanks to the police department, especially with times with Boston today. We see that our job is, threatening at times, and we're both thankful that that day we were able to go home to our families. I'd also like to give a big thanks to everybody behind us. Huge support system, even for Jeff and I, and it's been very, very important for us during this time. So again, to all of you guys back there, kudos to all of you, and thank you very much.
And if I could, one quick second, take a moment. Tomorrow at the Westmont High School in the auditorium at 7 o'clock, the police department will be sponsoring a town hall or a community meeting on encountering a violent situation, a violent encounter. The program is going to be presented mainly for with someone with a knife or handgun, those type of situations, not based on Boston. This has been in the program, in the process for several months. And we have not seen any other departments in the area present a program like this, and we're looking very forward to it to keep our residents and our businesses safe. So with that.
We have a budget meeting, so we have to miss it, but...
As will I. Deputy Chief Gunther is going to be representing myself. Sergeant Schlicker is presenting, and we have, I spoke to him this afternoon on my way here. Our State's Attorney, Robert Berlin, will also be presenting to talk about the legalities of the situation, and we're looking forward.
Quite a day to be doing it. I think it might be the anniversary of Virginia Tech.
Yes, it is.
So.
And it was just, we didn't know that until after we picked the date, but it's appropriate, and again, it's common sense based on the information we have received through our training, through programs we present to the schools, and also from the Department of Homeland Security. So.
It will be wonderful, and I hope a lot of residents come out and take advantage of this training and this presentation.
We hope so, too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, if I may, I'm sorry, I forgot the most important part. Immediately following thing, the department is hosting a cake and coffee reception for the officers, Officer Kono, Sergeant Schlicker, and Detective Bogart, back at the police department up in the training center. So everyone's please welcome either, well, those watching, please, continue to watch the meeting, but after the meeting, you're more than welcome to come to the police department.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tom. Thank you so much. Continuing on with reports. Clerk Zinsky.
The only thing I want to remind everybody that there is a budget meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the police station. And there will be a budget meeting held Saturday, April 20th at 9 a.m. here in Village Hall.
We'll wait just a second till the room clears. She's so cute. Look at her. Very nice. So why doesn't that surprise me? Okay, is there anything else from the clerk?
That's all.
Okay, moving on. Attorney Zemanek.
Nothing tonight.
Manager Cyril.
I have nothing as well, thank you.
Okay, that's it. Before we get on with the consent agenda, I would just ask Christine Kuhn to come up for a proclamation. We're going to make you do this. I'll stand. Make you do this. This is a proclamation for National Library Week 2013, April 14th through the 20th in Eden Lane, Carmichael. Whereas libraries have historically served as our nation's great equalizers of knowledge by providing free access to all. Whereas libraries work to meet the changing needs of their users, including building collections, expanding outreach services, and increasing programming. Whereas our nation's libraries provide a forum for diverse ideas and points of view that help us better understand each other and ourselves. Whereas librarians are trained professionals helping people of all ages and backgrounds find and interpret the information they need to live, learn, and work in a challenging economy. Whereas librarians design and offer programs to meet their community's economic needs, providing residents with career-building resources, assistance with online job searching and job applications. Whereas libraries are part of the American dream, places for education, opportunity, and lifelong learning. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Therefore, it be resolved that I, Mayor Pro Tem of Westmont, proclaim the Village of Westmont National Library Week, April 14th through 20th, 2013, and I encourage all residents to visit the library this week to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at your Westmont Public Library. You belong at your Westmont Public Library. Passed and approved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Westmont, DuPage County, Illinois, on this 15th day of April 2013. And that's for you. Thank you. We have a wonderful library. Thank you very much. We have one more proclamation. Ginny, I'm not going to make you walk up there, but I'm going to make you stand. Because this is all about you.
I thought we weren't going to read these.
Proclamation of a lifetime appointment?
Yes, it is.
They're going to have to rename Village Hall.
I think so. This is a proclamation for Village Clerks Week, May 5th through May 11th, 2013. Whereas the office of village clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government that exists in countries throughout the world. And whereas the office of village clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of village clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas village clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the village clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas village clerks continually strive to improve the administration of affairs of the office of village clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of village clerk. Now therefore, I, Suzanne Seneca, Mayor Pro Tem of the Village of Westmont, do hereby proclaim May 5th through May 11th, 2013 as Village Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our village clerk, Ginny Simsky, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Passed and approved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Westmont, DuPage County, Illinois, this 15th day of April 2013, and that's for our clerk.
Thank you.
We do without question have the best clerk. So there. Okay, and we have nothing else to take out of the consent agenda, so with that, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Nero. Second, Scott.
Roll call?
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes. New business, 15 South Cassie Avenue, La Petite Suite. Board to consider an ordinance approving a development permit request from Diane Engenberg to operate a bakery and cafe in the B1 Limited Business District.
Motion
we
to
have a motion?
approve, Nero. Second, Scott.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Abstain.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes. 135 Scott Court, Hutchins Lot Coverage Variation. Board to consider an ordinance approving a zoning code variance request from Jennifer Hutchins to allow a lot coverage greater than the 35% maximum allowed. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Nero. Second, Scott.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
333 East Ogden Avenue, standard market variance and site and landscaping plan approval requests. Board to consider ordinances approving the following requests from Standard Market at 333 East Ogden Avenue in the B2 General Business District. 1, variance request to reduce the required front yard setback for existing grocery store for the purpose of constructing a building addition for the wine and cheese department. 2, site and landscaping plan approval for the building addition. And 3, commercial masonry waiver request.
Motion to approve, 1, Nero.
Second, Klebanow?
Discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
2.
Motion to approve, 2, Nero. Second, Scott.
Discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
3.
Motion to approve, 3, Nero.
Second, Klebanow?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Klebanow?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca?
Yes. Cruise and Nights Fresh Market 2013. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Special Events Corporation for the 2013 Cruise and Nights / Fresh Market events held on Thursdays from June through August. Number 1, permission to close Cassie Avenue from Burlington Avenue to Irving Street to accommodate Cruise and Nights Fresh Market Street Fair event from 2 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. 2, restrict parking on Cassie Avenue from Irving Street to Norfolk Street to accommodate classic car parking only from 5:30 to 9 on each night of the event. 3, restrict parking in the Cass Avenue and Irving Street parking lot next to Tunes to accommodate classic car parking only from 5:30 to 9 p.m. on each night of the event. 4, permission to close Irving Street from Cass Avenue to the alley east of Cass Avenue from 5:30 to 9 on each night of the event. 5, permission to close the public parking lot located at Burlington Avenue and Cass Avenue for Squad Car Night on June 20th, 2013, and Fire Truck Night on July 25th, 2013, for participating vehicles from 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. 6, issuance of a license for amplified sound as required by Section 38-52 of the Village Code for live music and/or DJ during all nights of the event from 6 to 9:15. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve as a block. Nero? Second, Scott.
Discussion.
If I could just ask 2 questions. Chief, any comments on this? You're okay with it?
Including the closure of Cass every Thursday?
We've had staff discussions with Director May and the fire department. My concern was the businesses, if they're all right with it, and we're hearing that most are, or at least they've been contacted. It's no different than doing the Taste of Westmont. We talked about the setup and takedown. Street department will be putting cones and traffic controls out. Director May can talk more about the plans, but we feel that by diffusing it up at Norfolk for most of the traffic over, it's basically a Taste of Westmont every Thursday night. And we're willing to give it a try.
Okay.
We don't have very many problems when we do it at the Taste, so we feel that we're willing to give this a try as well, too. If it works, then if it brings people downtown, it's a success.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
And any comments from any residents have we heard?
No, we had none.
Okay. Nothing. Just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Roll call.
They have their chance. Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Taste of Westmont 2013, Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Special Events Corporation for the 2013 Taste of Westmont to be held on July 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, 2013. 1, Carnival Amusement Fee Waiver. 2, Liquor License Fee Waiver for 2 locations. 3, Issuance of sound amplification licenses and live entertainment request for all 4 days of the event during regular event hours. 4, street closure for all 4 days of the event outlined in the permit request. 5, temporary one-way traffic plan outlined in the permit request. 6, geographic description and related issues as shown on the event map. 7, safety cones, barriers at alleys on Irving west of Cass, and permission to use traffic safety devices to ensure safe crossing of pedestrians from the Taste of Westmont event on Irving to the Methodist parking lot at the corner of Irving and Lincoln and Irving.
Motion to approve as a block. Nero? Second, Scott.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes. 31 North Cass Avenue, the Sweet and Savory Spot. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from Danielle Kieran of the Sweet and Savory Spot for a development permit for the operation of a bakery and bistro in the B1 Limited Business District.
Motion to approve. Nero? Second, Scott.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee, or Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Abstain.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow. Yes. Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Thank you. Amended real estate agreement. Board to consider an ordinance approving an amended real estate agreement for the sale of public property identified as PIN 0916406017.
Motion to approve. Nero?
Second Emery.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes. Amendment to Site Development Agreement. Board to consider an ordinance approving an amendment to the Site Development Agreement for the outlot on 63rd Street to extend the date for certain property improvement obligations of the village.
Motion to approve. Nero?
Second Emery.
Any discussion?
Just one comment.
Okay.
I received an email from the owner of the outlot this afternoon with some belatedly approving the agreement. He had looked it over before, thought it was fine. He just had one additional minor, addition to the agreement, which was in the event the deal for the sale of the 8 acres falls apart and the village is obligated to make certain improvements benefiting the outlot, it says now we would have to pursue those improvements with due diligence, and he said not to exceed 18 months.
That's fair.
Which I think is a reasonable time period.
Fine.
Okay.
Roll call?
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes.
Declaration of village property as surplus. Board to consider an ordinance declaring certain vehicles/equipment as surplus village property to be sold at the DuPage Mayors and Managers Auction.
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second Emery.
Any comments? Roll call?
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes. Fiscal year budget 2013/2014, board to hear an update on the budget process for the upcoming fiscal year budget. And we have Finance Director Spencer Parker.
Okay, if I can get the screens turned on, be ideal. Okay. First of all, just mention the budget workshop schedule for the benefit of the public. We're currently halfway through the process. We've had 2 budget workshops, one on the 8th, one on the 13th. And now we have 2 additional workshops coming up. We have one on 6 o'clock this coming Tuesday, which will be at the police station, and then one at 9 a.m. this coming Saturday. So these budget workshops are opportunities for the board to see the budget, hear presentations from staff, opportunities for the public to comment and ask any questions that they may have. As has been mentioned previously, we're seeking input from the public and from anybody who's interested in attending. This is a great opportunity to come and see where the money is spent and ask as many questions as you may have. So I wanted to kind of run through where we sort of started with the budget process. As has been mentioned previously, with the loss of home rule, we estimated about $2.4 million loss. We were estimating 2.1, 2.3, turned out to be close to 2.4 million. However, we had some additional increases to revenue from increases in things such as sales tax, estimated increases in income tax, as well as the increase to property tax due to CPI. And then additionally, as the board's aware, we approved in March some additional fire fee increases, bringing the total net impact down to about $1 million deficit that would have to be addressed. The current state of the general fund, and again, all of this is subject to revision and review by the village board and will be discussed at future meetings. But as of right now, the current deficit that's listed in the budget is about $121,000, almost $122,000. Some cuts that are currently listed as things that will be cut from the budget. You can see the numbers in front of you. There's about $26,000 worth of changes that were already underway, things that were changed in this fiscal year, such as moving to new vendors, other changes in policy and procedure that already occurred. There's about $157,000 worth of one-time expenses that were in last year's budget that don't need to be rebudgeted. Through attrition or maintaining vacancies, we can reduce another $428,000 from the budget. This includes about $100,000 of that is from not filling the vacancies in the rental licensing positions that were originally budgeted in the previous budget but won't be in this coming one. There's about $87,000 worth of cuts that will have minimal impacts to service. About $64,000 of that is from a reduction in the amount of salt that we're going to purchase. Because of the very mild winters we've had the last couple of years, we have a lot of salt and don't need to purchase as much this coming year as we have previously. The others are, a variety of miscellaneous things, some reductions in uniforms, some cuts on building maintenance, some minor cuts here and there.
We've got potential board meeting savings of roughly $69,000 in the budget currently. Currently, it's proposed that we would reduce the brush pickup program to 4 pickups per season, which would save about $58,000. Right now, about $111,000 is listed in tree and infrastructure maintenance, so a reduction in those services. Part of that is being able to purchase smaller sized trees, which is able to save a significant amount of money while still providing the same number of trees. They're just start out a little smaller. The elimination of the downtown music is currently listed as a cut in the budget. We've got about $74,000 identified that we hope to be able to be reimbursed from either other entities or from the Convention Tourism Fund. We've been able to reduce the amount that we're setting aside each year for vehicles by about $119,000, and then a reduction from the amount we had transferred to other funds such as the Water Fund and Capital Projects Fund last year. We're reducing that amount of transfer by about $222,000. There's also some increases that I wanted to just mention for the benefit of the public. The board's aware of these as they've been at these various budget workshops. So the first increase is about $62,000 difference in grants this year. We've got the additional revenue and the additional expenditures. We've got proposed currently in the budget was the addition of code enforcement staff, which is estimated to be roughly $76,000. We've got some IT information technology replacements such as servers and softwares and those sort of increases that come to about $60,000. And then additionally, there are some proposed revenues that have been presented thus far. First is a $25 increase to the parking permit fee, which will generate approximately $32,000. Currently, vehicle stickers are listed in there, which would generate a little over $400,000. And then we've also included the proposed or estimated revenue for video gaming of about $35,000. And that's sort of a very brief recap of some of the budget workshops for the benefit of the public. And obviously, these things are all subject to change, and additional changes will be made in the ongoing budget workshops. Again, the next one is on Tuesday, which is tomorrow at the police station. Any?
Thank you. I know we have said at each of our meetings that, we walk away having, some ideas of what can be reduced, what might have to be added in, but it's all very much a work in progress. So nothing is in stone yet, but we are certainly headed in a positive direction. The unfortunate part will be, our emergency reserve fund. I mean, we should have, I think you said about $4 million in there, and I think we have $1 million, and it's unlikely we'll put anything in it this year. Or at least right now it's looking that way. So I urge a lot of participation in this budget, so if residents can come out, please do.
Spencer, could you go back to your second slide, the one that shows the, that one.
This one.
That one.
Okay.
I just want to point out something so that, we don't have a situation of the emperor's new clothes here. We all talked about the loss of home rule, about $2.5 million, and then there's a hopeful economic increase of revenue of just over $1 million, and the fire fees increase of, roughly $250,000. First of all, the fire fees increase is not all collectible and won't be all collected. The economic increase to revenue is nice because that's projected. And so when you look at the net reserve impact, people tend to breathe easy and go, oh, those naysayers were only about $1 million, and how hard can it be? When I talk about the emperor's new clothes, what people fail to realize is that we're already operating as lean as we can. This isn't where we have some huge budget and the ability to, as some people have said, cut wasteful spending with no ideas as to how to do it.
Or where it is.
It's
like to see the wasteful spending.
Exactly. So I just want people to be clear. This isn't a big sigh of relief and gee, we just found $1 million. We have cut and cut and cut for years, and we are at bare bones now. There is no surplus. There is no, isn't this great? Hallelujah. We're only $1 million short. We're bare bones now and have to cut yet another $1 million.
Well, I think you also need to point out that does include a more aggressive capital infrastructure replacement program, which we all know is direly needed. And you couple that with our continued need to build our reserves.
Right.
That's what we've been trying to strive to do for a number of years.
And I think the board, the new board coming in, and the 3 members who will be sitting here for at least another 2 years are going to hear a lot of complaints about the roads, and that is millions and millions and millions of dollars to fix. And people think, well, what's a couple trucks of asphalt or something like that, but it's just.
A little more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's,
Depending on the road.
It's better, but it's far from rosy.
Right, good point. Good point. And just, our departments have just been cutting and cutting, as Trustee Emery said. It has gotten down to where one department actually presented perhaps going with a 5x7 plaque instead of a 8.5 by 10.
Well,
that's because everything else is cut already.
Also,
an office chair. Just
silly
things
I'd
that.
also like to repeat what I said at the workshop, is that we started working on this back in the fall because of the uncertainty. So the department heads, many of them who were here, have looked long and hard at their budgets and have done a great job to get the expenditures down even further to narrow this gap. So it wasn't like we just suddenly started the budget process last week and suddenly realized, no, this has been a long-term effort that started because we didn't know the uncertainty of, first of all, the home rule question on the ballot, and then the appeal to the Census Bureau. And now that those questions are answered, we've also gotten our legal opinion. Some of this has been in work, and it's been a lot of hard work on Spencer's part and the department heads to try to get it this narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's not an issue of the residents are wrong and we're right. The issue is, this is what the residents have told us they want.
And so we do it.
So we do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
We do it.
That's cut and clear. It's as black and white as that. These are the things we've been mandated to do by the public, by their deciding to get rid of home rule. We explained it to them what was going to happen.
Right.
This is what's happening, and so I'm assuming that they're going to be happy with the decisions we're making.
I hope so.
and I didn't mean to raise that to assign blame. I'm just saying that in terms of strategically thinking about the possibilities, we had to start to prepare.
Right, this isn't something that happened last week or the end of November. It was long thought out, and so, but I think we ought to go over it again Thursday at Committee of the Whole, because there's a different set of people that watch the Committee of the Whole meetings, because these are usually breezed through, and, you know, so people understand, and, you know, we all hear from residents, like they'll say, well, you're paying your street, you know, your street department, as they call public, or your street department, X amount of dollars, so how about if just during the day they come by and do a brush pickup? What's the difference? They seem to think every action is, you know, it's just magic pixie dust that pays for it. So it would be nice if people, you know, we got more input from the public, but
yeah, well, the money was growing on the trees, but then the Emerald Ash Borer came and we had to cut down those trees. So it's true.
You know, and I mean, and the unfortunate thing about this is, too, that I don't think the residents fully realize until this is finalized what this is going to do. This village has run lean and mean for a long time. There hasn't been, and I've heard people say, well, we're hiding money in the books someplace, or it's all hidden, and it's all, I got news for you. It doesn't happen that way, ladies and gentlemen.
Only in the movies.
And so far, in the first two meetings, I've seen I've seen two of the prospective trustee-elects there and the mayor-elect there. Brief time for one of the trustee-elects. But I haven't seen more than maybe one resident. So obviously, I don't think they really care. You know when they're going to care? They're going to care when their brush doesn't get picked up. They're going to care when their street doesn't get fixed. Remember, what happened last November when you checked the box. And remember who allowed you or convinced you to check that box. We are talking about a lot of people that really don't live in this town and do not pay property taxes in this town.
Well, we had about 11,000 people that were eligible to vote in both of our most recent elections, and about 2,200 voted in the last one. So as Clerk Simsky would say, those 11,000, they're not allowed to complain.
Well, no.
they're not.
And we know who you are.
You should have to scan your I voted today thing and attach it to every email.
That's all right, I'll get the
And
printout
otherwise,
from
we
the
don't want to hear
precinct.
from you.
No, no.
No, I mean, the thing is, that honestly, going forward, if somebody wants to come up and complain to me, I'm going to ask them, first question I'm going to ask them, did you vote?
And they'll say
If they
yes,
say-
they did.
If they say no, I'm going to look at them and go, I don't have time for this. Thank you.
I'll get the printout and you can check me.
I would be more than happy to.
We'll be running around,
I'm
we'll be
gonna have a
running
little bit
around
extra time on
town.
my hands.
But we have to make our decisions on the assumption that they did know what they were
Exactly.
voting on.
Absolutely, we have to.
That's how we make our decisions.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's
Okay.
right.
Oh, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Hey, Spencer, you mentioned one of the potential increases in revenue was an increase in real estate taxes by CPI, I believe?
Yes. So it's the increase that we're allowed under PTEL, the Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, which provides for an increase based on CPI.
So that's
Past couple of
the
years.
village's
The
increase,
Consumer
not
Price Index.
The county's assessed valuation. And what I'm wondering, when we were going through the TIF process, there was talk like real estate taxes are likely to
No,
remain.
the value has gone down of property,
Flat.
but because of the way the PTEL law works, it's actually had kind of the opposite effect.
Actually, it's an increase
Taxing
in revenue.
bodies are getting more based on their levy amount that doesn't have, I mean, the actual value of the properties is still going down. Ours went down an average of 8.
Yeah,
7%.
8 or 9%. Yeah.
So even though we're levying more, it's still going to result in a net increase in revenue over past years.
And other
Yes.
taxing bodies will see that as well.
And we're not hiding anything in the books, we just let Spencer talk with all the acronyms. PTEL and the CPI.
Yeah, that's, PTEL stands for.
Property Tax Extension Limitation Law.
Thank
And the
you.
CPI for those at home?
It's the Consumer Price Index.
Thank you.
Basically, an inflationary increase that the property tax law allows property tax entities which levy a property tax to get an increase based on inflation, because obviously costs increase at the rate of inflation, and so the revenues should be able to increase to cover those costs. And it's the only increase in the property tax that we receive.
One other historical thing I'd just like to point out, and part of the reason we're here where we're at with our reserve situation is that, and I've said this before, and I think everybody here on the board knows this, the community has always been debt averse. Pay as you go. And that's been the philosophy in this community, and it's been the philosophy for the decades that I've been here. And it goes back, you can go back a couple of our auditors, not just the last ones, but you can go back to the auditors that we had with Pandolfi, and we would often hear at the end of the year when they would look at the books that, we didn't always have a lot of cash in our funds because we would tend to pay as you go. So we paid a lot of costs for infrastructure with the current year revenues and some funds that were built up from the prior year. We have not, like many communities do, issue, large bond issues and then leverage those to try to assist our annual cash flow.
Because they still have to be paid back with interest.
They do, and I'm not bringing that up to advocate for it. I'm just, as an explanation,
Right.
that's one of the challenges that we've had to be able to get our cash reserves up. That's just the philosophy of the community, and that's how we've operated.
And it saved the residents money by doing it that way.
Right.
But bonds out there, it's going to cost them.
We may not always have that luxury, but only time will tell. Spencer, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Spencer, you do a great job, that's why we'd like to pay you the big bucks.
Thank you.
He puts in so
Appreciate
many
that.
hours, he's probably making $6.25 an hour now. With all the hours he puts in.
Paying him below minimum wage.
More on tips. He only gets about $2.75 an hour, then looking for tips.
$2.75 an hour plus tips. Okay, that's good.
He's
Thank
also
you.
our backronym expert, too.
Yes, very good.
If you don't know what that is, that you'd find that in Merriam-Webster.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Voluntary retirement separation agreement. Board to consider an ordinance approving a voluntary retirement separation agreement. Do we have a motion?
So move, Nero.
Second, Emery?
Discussion? Roll call?
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Oh, I thought you said Fleming, sorry. Yes.
Trustee
Looking at me
Scott.
like,
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes.
I don't think we have anything for miscellaneous. We do not have a request for executive session, so
motion to adjourn, Emery?
Second, Nero.
roll call, please.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Fleming.
Yes.
Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seneca.
Yes.
Now you gotta whack the gavel again. That's
yeah.
my favorite part.
I like doing that.
Adjourn.